Okay, Jai Jagannath, Radhe Radhe. We are here again with another reading study on Bhagavad Gita. So, we left at chapter 3, verse 28. Almighty armed Arjuna, one who knows things as they really are, is able to understand the various qualities and activities, and therefore he engages the qualities or tendencies in the interaction with the appropriate qualities and tendencies. This awareness keeps him free from attachment. So this verse is very interesting, not so easy to understand. Okay. Tattva vitu, someone who knows the tattva. Okay, tattva vitu. Mahabaho. Guna karma vibhagayo. Guna guneshu vartanta. Iti matra nasajjati. Okay. So, Sajjata means becomes affected, conditioned, attached, whatever. So the important thing here, Krishna is talking about the gunas. What are the gunas? The gunas are a very important point in Bhagavad Gita and in all the Vedic knowledge, yoga, bhakti, tantra, everything. So the gunas are the basic component of everything that is manifest. Now, we have spiritual gunas and material gunas. Usually, when we talk about the karma, the connection is to the material gunas, not the spiritual gunas, because karma is action that is connected to a reaction, the fruits of action, karma phala. So the karma phala means that we are based, our choices as the Atman are based on the type, the mode of consciousness. This is why guna is also translated as mode, modality. Okay. Now, the three... tell.
No, nothing.
No, nothing. Okay. The three material gunas, as Krishna explains, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Gratyaya. Gunamai. The three material gunas are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. These three material tendencies, modes, qualities are connected to every material manifestation, including our body, including the food, the time of the day, life habits, a type of thoughts of things that we take from the environment, the type of things we see, whatever sense objects, whatever is manifested as a material thing. Whatever. Thing is everything. Now, the Atman is not subject to the gunas, because the Atman originally is simply spiritual, transcendental. So the qualities in the spiritual manifestation, because that is also a Maya. It's very important to understand that we have the Mahamaya and the Yoga Maya. They're both Maya, but the effect is different because the Yoga Maya connects us, yoga, with God. Mahamaya is the greater Maya in this universe. It looks like it's everywhere. It gives the impression that the material objects are real and permanent. And that is illusion. Yoga Maya is also a kind of illusion because it shows us a form, a relationship, a manifestation that looks like the material equivalents, but they're not. This is why it's illusion. But it's a good illusion because otherwise we would not be able to relate to God while we are in the material world. So the three spiritual gunas are Sat, Chit, Anand. The three material gunas are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Now, when we know exactly the various qualities and activities, guna, karma, vibhagaya. Karma is also another interesting word because it can have different, it contains different meanings. Usually it means action and reaction and the connection, the relationship between action and reaction. However, it also means duty. Karma is the dutiful action. While when we speak about bad action, we talk about vikarma. Karma is good in the sense that it gives us the good results by which we can live in this world as happy as possible and do our progress, make progress in our personal evolution. Vikarma is the action that is opposite, contrary. It's not our duty, it's something bad, something that we will have to pay for. While the karma is creating good credits, vikarma is creating debts. Now then we go, still another term that we use in relationship with the subject is ugra karma. Ugra karma is worse than vikarma. Ugra karma means not only we are making debts that we'll have to pay, but we are violating some serious laws and we will have to pay much more. So it's like in material terms we have the civil code and the penal code. The civil code is for minor, infractions and, irregularities. It's like the vikarma. Okay, we made a mistake. We didn't do what we were supposed to do, and we did what we are not supposed to do. But ugra karma is a penal code. It's a criminal subject. Now, if we know the gunas and the karma, all the different vibhaga, all the different categories of guna and karma, then we know how to work, how to engage the guna and karma in the interaction with the guna and karma. The gunas the only thing that the Atman can do is make a choice. The Purusha is just perception and will. The focusing the consciousness. We know that all actions are carried out by the material nature. Krishna said very clearly, Ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. It's only someone who is confused by the ahankara, who is foolish, who doesn't have sufficient intelligence, thinks that he is doing something. Because all the activities are done by the material nature, by the body, by the mind, by the senses. This is all material nature. This is all gunas. It's not us. It's not the Atman. Then, how we get the karma? Because of course, people will think, okay, I am the Atman. I'm not acting. I'm not doing anything. I'm not the karta. So why should I pay? And this is the point. We don't pay. It's the body and the mind that pay the debt. Is that clear until now?
Yes.
Very good. So, when we are conscious, aware that the gunas are engaged in the gunas, that the body and the senses and the mind are engaged in the activities that are under sattva, rajas or tamas. We know it's a body, we know it's a mind, we know it's the senses. It's not us. So whatever happens, we don't identify. So this is the meaning of overcoming ahankara and mamatva. Like Krishna says in Gita many times, we need to give up ahankara and mamatva. We need to give up duality. We are in this world of duality. This world is, material manifestation is based on duality. Because the very concept of manifestation means that it is sometimes manifested and sometimes not manifested. So this is the basic duality. Sat, asat. Something that is there, something that is not there. Manifested and non-manifested, true, not true, good, bad. So it's all relative to the body, mind, and senses, because the Atman is not touched by all these things. But the Atman needs to develop, because we start as Jivatma. And we need to grow, we develop. Someone was asking me on Quora about if time is linear in the spirit world. Then I explained spirit is something that is not very clear in English language, in the Western languages, because people are confused about it. The current Western culture teaches, because based on the Abrahamic concept, ideology, teaches that we are the body and we have a soul. All the rest of the elaborations are wrong. Because if you say that, you start saying, because 2 plus 2 is 6, or 5, or 3, whatever, And then you continue all your calculations on this basis. What is the value of the calculation? Where can you go? What can you prove? What can you attain? Nothing. just confusion. So, in Western languages, spirit is sometimes confused, defined as soul, sometimes as mind, sometimes as intention, sometimes as ghost, and sometimes even as alcohol. You know, like the spirit is something, liquors. Okay. So, from this, of course, the connection with the liquor is that the alcohol evaporates. So, there is some kind of, semantic connection. But it's very confused. We talk about Atman, about Manas, about Sharira. We talk about the transcendental level, the spiritual level, transcendental level, Atman, Brahman. Then we talk, it's a different thing from the subtle dimension, Sukshma, the Sukshma Sarir, the Sukshma, world and objects and everything, which is also different from the Stula Sarir, the gross, physical body and objects. So I was explaining that on the spiritual level, time is not linear, but it's all concentrated in one point simultaneously all the time. It's like the Gita, when it says that Arjuna sees the universal form there, at this point, in that place, the entire universe. This is the concept of the bindu, the dot, the point. In in geometry, that was started in the Vedic knowledge, Vedic science, and then was exported to Greece. Because lots of Greek scholars were coming to India for studying in the university, especially Buddhist universities. The concept of the point has no dimensions. It's the same idea of the zero and the infinite. Those were ideas that were never in the, like Western cultures, even in ancient times. Whenever we find these concepts, it's because they came from the Vedic science. And no, it's not Newton who went and looted the books in India. The books from India were freely given for a very long time. Even before the time of Alexandria. Alexander the Great. You must have heard about Alexander the Great, the Macedonia. Then the colonial history, Eurocentric history, says that Alexander conquered India. No. Some even say, okay, no, well, he didn't conquer India, but that's because, his army got the Delhi belly. So they all got, loose motion and they had to run back home. No. Alexander was defeated. When he came to India, he was defeated. And there, the story started about the Indian magicians, the Indian wizards. Because the Kshatriyas in those times, the times of Alexander, which was about 500-600 before the present era, at that time the Kshatriyas still knew about the weapons. the astra. There was still some knowledge about that. So Alexander was so amazed that he took back lots of books and lots of translators, and he started this big work that became the Library and University of Alexandria. And lots of Greek scholars also came to India to study and everything. So we go back. This is where the idea of the point or infinite, the zero and the ananta, the shunya and the ananta started. Now the time in the spiritual level is all present, but in the same place, and everything happens at the same time. Everything is at the same time. There is no duality. It's difficult to understand what it means that it is no duality, because everything is simultaneously. Now, on the subtle level, the level of the mind, the subtle dimensions, we have lots of dimensions in our world. Not just the physical gross dimensions we can touch without see with our material eyes, but in many ways. So in the subtle dimension, the time is a continuum. It's like a river. The river is always there. There is no time when it starts and no time when it ends. The source is always there. The middle course is always there. And the delta is always there. So it is a continuum. But we are not. Both at Atman and as a subtle body, like a mental body, personality, like Vijnanamaya, Brahmamaya, Pranamaya, we are not linear because we develop. There is evolution. From the state of Anuatman, we develop, we grow, we learn, we become realized, and we attain what we call the Siddha Deha. It is still a spiritual body, but it is totally developed. Now, when Krishna says that the Atman never changes, it is true because it's always the same Atman. But it is manifested at a different level, in a different way, which is not based on duality because we always had the same spiritual DNA. But there is a development, a manifestation of that potential, the perfect Satchitananda potential of the Jivatma, and this is done by Yogamaya. Just like Yogamaya is manifesting the spiritual forms of God. Spiritual form of God is always existing, but sometimes it manifests and sometimes not. This is why Adi Shankar says that Narayana is not manifested. Not manifested, but doesn't mean that it has to develop. Because especially in the case of Vishnu, it's all there already. It can be manifested at any time, from the beginning to the end, in the same perfect way, because it's unlimited. We are infinitesimal. We are small. God is big and we are small. But the process of manifestation of the consciousness is still affected, is still done by Yoga Maya. Okay, so now in the example that I was giving of the river that is always existing, the river is always there, never changes, but our journey on the river changes. And even if it's not completely linear, the past cannot be changed. So, for example, let's say we go from the source to the waterfalls. Okay, we may go to the waterfall, and before we go through the waterfall, we come back to the source. But it's not that we never did that part of the journey. So it's not, it's not a continuum. It's linear. So our movements, even in the subtle level, on the subtle level, they're still linear. In the material, at the material level, time is linear, but it's like a spiral. It looks like circular because it goes in cycles. But the cycles of time in the material world are not going exactly to the same place. It's not a closed circle. It's a spiral. Because we know that each cycle is progressing towards within a journey that starts on a bigger cycle. Like, for example, each day looks like the same. Okay, the sun rises, things are going, we do stuff, then midday comes, and then the sunset comes. But every day is different. Let's say the year. Every year has the same seasons. But every season is different. Things happen differently every year. So, in the same way, we have a journey. We are, the material time is proceeding in cycles, and the greatest cycle is the breathing cycle of Mahavishnu. Still a cycle. But within one breathing cycle of Mahavishnu, there is a linear progression that goes in spirals. Now, why is this relevant to this verse? Because we remain free from attachment by understanding all the qualities and the activities that belong to the manifestation, belong to the gunas, belong to either Mahamaya or Yogamaya. So the attachment under Yogamaya is transcendental. The attachment under Mahamaya is material. So in the Gita we will find sometimes the expression Mukta Sangha. Mukta Sangha I have translated not only as becoming free from association, but I also said that we need to associate with what is free, with what is helping us to become free. Because just inaction is not sufficient. We need to have inaction and action. We need to do action is pravritti and inaction is nivritti. This is what the asuras don't understand. Pravrittin cha, nivrittin cha. Navidurasura. The asuras don't know what to do and what not to do. But a devotee knows. Why? Because a person who knows the things as they really are is able to understand the various qualities and activities, and therefore he engages in the qualities, the tendency, and the guna. Guna guneshu vartanta. Iti matvana sajjati. In this way, in this awareness, this perspective, one remains free from the identification and the attachment that is ahankara mama. So things that our body, our mind do, they concern the body and the mind. There is another passage in the Gita when Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that someone who has attained the Sita Pragya, the solid knowledge, a stable, permanent knowledge, can understand that all the activities of the body, closing and opening the eyes, accepting, rejecting, going, walking, sitting, whatever, all these activities are done by the gunas. And of course we can choose which gunas we want to associate with, which guna we want to choose for our gunas, for our body and mind. This is why Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita a lot about the gunas. So we need to use rajas, to engage rajas to serve sattva and to rise even higher than sattva. If we do that, we'll evolve, we'll get good karma even if we don't want to do good karma. It will be automatic. A person who is in sattva, who chooses sattva, does good things, and the good result will come automatically. On the other hand, if we don't choose sattva, rajas will automatically drag us down to tamas, and then is the problem. So the pravritti is the engagement of rajas in sattva, and the nivritti, what should not be done, is the engagement of rajas into tamas. Is everything clear at this point?
Yes.
Good. Any questions?
No, nothing as of now.
But
I think we discussed a lot of things around
exactly.
this.
Exactly. I went, with the, with the big flight here. We had a long flight. But
Yeah.
I think because this verse is so deep, if people just read it superficially, what they will understand? Nothing. Lots of people, they think they're reading Gita, they're just looking at the page. They may even recite it, but they understand what's written there? Usually, I don't think that it is happening very often. Anyway, 28, 29. Okay, so one verse we got almost 1 hour. 29. Those who are confused by the qualities of nature remain attached to the qualities and the activities, or to the activities of the gunas. A person who has the clear knowledge of action should not unsettle the minds of the foolish people who do not have the same understanding. This is interesting because when the people are just looking at the page of the Gita or reciting or whatever, we should not tell them, oh, no, stop what you're doing, you're not doing it right. No, okay, let them. You know. Because attachment is something that is, natural in this world. Then the next verse is giving the best advice, what to do then. We should engage people, even if their knowledge is not sufficient, if they don't have the same understanding, we should help them to engage in proper action. Here, 30. You should fight this battle in the consciousness of surrendering all your actions to me, without selfish desires of sense of possessiveness, and without lethargy or delirious delusions, like Vata Jwara. Jwara is a fever. When someone has a fever, fever can either, at times it makes you totally lethargic. You're just like, you cannot move. You're just, sleeping, and just, you cannot do anything. At the other time, you become feverish in the sense that you become restless, which is delirious delusions. Become restless, and the perception becomes distorted. So we need to become free, Vigata, Jwara. When the fever is over, when the fever is gone, we can actually see how, and things as they are and work. So, Nirasi, Nirmama, Putva. Nirasi means without desires, means selfish desires, of course. Nirmama, without sense of possession or belonging. This again is a true feeling, the true perception of the Atman. But we need to engage in the battle. Yudhyasva. It's not that because we are not, we know it's not our doing, we are not, it's not our problem, then we don't do anything. We should engage in our duty, but sannyasya, abandoning the activities, karmani sannyasya, adhyatma cetasa, being in the consciousness of the self, adhyatma cetasa, keeping the consciousness of surrendering, means all your actions to me. This is sannyas. Sannyas means renouncing, surrendering one's actions. Doesn't mean not doing anything, of course. Okay? Adhyatma. Cetasa. Okay. Let's go on in the verse 31. Those human beings who always follow this teaching of mine, thanks to their faith and lack of envy, become free from the consequences of actions. It doesn't mean that they continue to do bad actions, or selfish actions. But, Krishna is talking about this teaching that he has been talking about. So, whatever we do, with faith and proper understanding, and especially lack of envy, lack of hatred, lack of selfish, conditioning, desires, dualistic interest. If we continue working, doing our duty, we are not bound by the consequences because we are the Atman. The body can get some result, but it's not that bad. Body and mind will actually get some result, but we are not the body and mind. So, we are not affected. Okay. 32. However, those who do not follow my teachings because of envy or malice are confused in whatever they know. Know that they will ultimately meet with destruction because they do not have the proper understanding. What is a distraction? The distraction is the distraction of their identification, which is a blessing. So this is why life keeps teaching us. Life is teaching us first, giving little hints, with very soft voice. Then if we don't listen, if we don't learn, life starts talking more clearly and more loudly. And if we still don't listen and don't understand, at some point we get punched like anything. Because what is going to be destroyed is the error, the mistake, the false understanding, which is still a blessing. When life destroys our misconceptions, we should be happy because, we had some misconceptions. Okay, they're gone. Yeah. Okay, so envy and malice is also the biggest point of duality. What is the envy or malice? Abhyasuyanta. Abhyasuya is envy, malice, is hatred, bad idea, based on duality. Identification with the material manifestation. Okay. Everything is clear? No questions?
Yeah,
No
like
questions. Okay.
I need to maybe go
Digest.
through it again, and maybe
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, definitely. That is why we
maybe
are
I'll through commentary
recording.
also. Yeah.
The commentary is also there. If you also have
Mm.
questions about the commentary, of course, but I am adding something extra that is not just from the commentary. Because when I wrote the commentary already, the book was big already. I could not have gone on for much more in the book. That's why we are not just reading Gita. We are you know, in a sense, we are worshiping it. It's like when you do seva to a murti, you know. It's there are different outfits that you can, you know, you can offer to the murti. Okay, so do we want to stop here?
No, I think we can continue. We have
Okay,
some
okay.
maybe 10 minutes more.
Okay, 34. Attraction and aversion are ordained or meant to result from the interaction of the senses with the objects of the senses. One should not fall under the control of either of them, because they are both to be considered as obstacles on the path of the performance of duty. Raga, dvesha. Here, attraction or attachment. Raga is more attraction than attachment. Taste, you know, like flavor. You know, it's not rasa, but it's raga. You know, attraction. You know, dvesha means aversion in the sense that raga we like and dvesha we don't like. You know, like and dislike. The point is the result. Vyavastitam are the interaction of the indriyasya arte for the purpose of engaging the senses in the senses. So this is the purpose of the material experience. You know, raga and dvesha are supposed to push us to make choices, to choose what is good and reject what is bad. So when we choose what is good, we get a reinforcement because we receive something that is pleasant. We receive joys. We receive something we like. When we make the wrong choice, we choose the bad things, we get something unpleasant. So we need to learn to pursue what is good, you know, because raga towards the good and dvesha towards the bad. This is the school. It's not the real life. So we need not to fall under the control of either of them. Because at some point, the things that look like pleasurable to us may confuse us into doing bad actions that will result in dvesha. It's more complicated than it looks. You know, because the point, tell.
Yeah,
I think you know the meaning of the terms preya and shreya.
yeah.
Preya is something that is pleasing, and shreya is something that is better. You know, we can make a comparison with the school, the learning process in school. Okay. Now, you have experience with the school test, with multiple options as answers. Right? Now, some of these options are wrong but they're presented in a very convincing manner. We could say a pleasant, pleasing manner, but they're still wrong. What is the purpose of this? The purpose is that we have to make our choices not just because we are attracted to something or not attracted. You understand? You know, we have to make our choices with a higher level of understanding. This is okay. I think we should stop here. We had about 1 hour.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I'll go through this
yeah,
again.
exactly. Because
Some of the
otherwise we
things I
get
need
into
to.
overload,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
overload is not good.
One thing on this
Yes,
attraction and
please,
aversion, I
please.
just wanted to ask was,
Yeah.
is it also related with the buddhi? Like buddhi is also
Yes.
said to be a sense, right? So, okay,
Not
in a
exactly a
spiritual field
sense.
also, I
Yeah.
want.
Okay. Yeah, it's material. Yeah, material nature, but it can be spiritual. Yeah. Tell.
Like let's say I like reading some books. I might not like reading some books, both on like spiritual topics.
Yeah.
So, is it that we shouldn't be doing that? Like this is also kind of like on the level of buddhi we are somewhat attached, and we
The
should be
question is not
neutral in
very
these
clear.
terms. Or,
The question is not very clear. I don't understand the question. You're
okay, so it
saying,
says that we
yeah.
should not fall. Mhm. It
Tell.
says that like you should not fall under the control of to either of them, that you should
Yes.
not have attraction or aversion.
No,
But
no, no, no,
in
no,
terms
no,
of
no, no,
buddhi
no, no,
also,
no. It doesn't say we should not have attraction or revulsion. It says that we should not fall under their control. Because it's impossible not to have attraction or revulsion. It's impossible. It's just like, it's not possible to not to have joys or sorrows. Because, this is the nature of the matter, body and mind. Dukhalayam asasvatam. It's its nature. So we will always have raga and dvesh. But we should know that they are meant for the interaction of the senses with the objects of the senses, and they should not control us. We should do our duty whether we like it or not. Later on, when talking about the gunas, Krishna will explain the different types of happiness. I think you read that. The happiness
yes,
in sattva starts like poison and ends like nectar. The happiness in rajas starts like nectar and ends in poison. And happiness in tamas, it's always poison. There's never any nectar. We will always have raga and dvesh. We will always have joys and sorrows. We will always have, old age, disease, and death. As long as we have a material body, there's no way to avoid that. We can cover the perception with tamas. Like we can, get drunk or stoned, we don't feel anything. We can be in a coma, but that is not really helping. You understand? So, The sattva
The sattva
helps us really understand things as they are and helps us make the right choices. The rajas gives us the push to make the choice. Good or bad, it's up to us to decide. Tamas is just, weighing us down. So we have to be careful how we engage the gunas, in the gunas. Guna guneshu vartanta. That's the most important thing, choosing the gunas. This is why it's so important, for example, to be vegetarian. Because someone who is not vegetarian is choosing tamas. Is choosing to avoid being conscious of the implications of his food. That's tamas. I don't want to know. Non-vegetarian people, they get annoyed when you tell them they're eating a dead body. Because they don't want to know. They don't want to think about that.
No, they don't want to think about that.
And what is that?
And what is that?
Tamas. You see. So, we have to be careful, become expert in the science of the gunas, because in this world, like Krishna will say, there is a total, a chapter that is totally dedicated to the gunas later on, Like Krishna says, in this world, even the devas are subject to the gunas. All material bodies are subject to the gunas. Devas have a material body. It's not gross like ordinary human, but it's still material. So, is this clear? Good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. 34. We start next time from 35. Okay. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we'll stop recording.